Hello and welcome to a screencast on progression and regression ideas. So you should be watching this hopefully coming to the stage where you are planning one, if not a set of your sessions, either for the Year 7s or the primary school group that you're going to see. I think the first point really is to have an understanding of what we mean by the word progression and regression. So as you can see on the screen here, for progression, we're talking about when an activity is mastered or becomes too easy, how can we make it more challenging? So that's the key element of us as sports leaders. How can we make an activity or a task more difficult when it becomes too easy for the students so that they don't become bored? So that's what we mean by progression, and regression is the opposite of that really. So whereby an activity is too difficult, perhaps an exercise that you've set up is too difficult to master or complete. So how as sports leaders can we adapt and change that, and can we show regression, so taking steps backwards in that sense? So these are the two key points. I'm just going to give you a few ideas which you could use as part of your lesson plan, and you can see it from the pictures at the bottom, but ultimately you might have a few ideas of your own as well, which is great. So one of the first ones we're looking at here is a timing element. So when we're progressing an activity, can we change the time of that activity? So can we shorten it to make it more challenging perhaps for the students, or do we have to actually regress, and do we have to make the timing a little bit longer so that the students have more time to be able to complete that task? So that could be one element of your lesson plan that you might want to change. The second one is this idea of altering the targets or altering the goals. So you can see the picture there, you've got a big target and a small target. So if we're progressing and it's easy for the students to hit the big target, can they now actually aim towards the smaller target to make it a more difficult challenge for them? Same with if we have goals or a basketball hoop, can we actually smallen those things? And if we're regressing it, if it's too difficult to score in those aspects, can we make the goal bigger, or can we make the target bigger? So just doing the complete opposite. The next one is this idea of the number of balls, so the number of equipment that we might have out. So again, if we're progressing something, can we make it more difficult a challenge? If it's a catching game, can we put more balls into the activity to make it more difficult, so that they have more than one that they need to focus on? So they're using maybe spatial awareness as well as obviously their coordination. Or do we need to regress it, and do we have to look at the fact that we perhaps need to reduce the number of balls? So that could be an element there. And then the last two, really looking at the pitch element. So can we maybe either increase the pitch size or smallen the pitch size? If we're smalling the pitch size, it might be more challenging, so we might have to introduce different rules. So it could be 1-2 touch, for example, rather than all in or 3 touches, and vice versa. If it's too difficult, perhaps we might need to make the pitch bigger, so we create perhaps more space for the children. So that's an element, thinking about the pitch size and the area that you're playing with. And then finally, I've put here the size of the balls. So again, if a student is finding it really easy in terms of scoring by kicking a ball or with a basketball, then perhaps changing the size of the balls might make it more difficult for them to complete that task. So there are a few things there for you that will hopefully help in terms of progression and regression, and hopefully you've got a few more ideas of your own choice as well. But I hope those will come in handy when it comes to doing your lesson plans.